dark chocolate ice cream skulls for Halloween.
Let's see what's cooking. It's time for Yo-Yo Max 12.
Hello everyone, starting off with the ice cream. That's 5 large egg yolks in a small bowl. Measure out 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Put about half that 3/4 of a cup in with the egg yolks and stir it around. And then you're going to set this aside. Now in a large saucepan, add 1/4 cup of dark cocoa. The rest of that 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Stir it around until you don't have any lumps of cocoa in there. Then you're going to add in about 1/4 cup of milk out of a 1 cup measure. And just stir that until you get a nice smooth paste so that there's no lumps left. So add in the rest of that 1 cup of milk. Then 1 3/4 cups of heavy cream, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And cook those over medium heat until it just starts to simmer, just so it looks like it wants to simmer. Bubbles just start to form. Then take your egg yolks and you're going to take 1/2 cup of that hot mixture and you're going to whisk it into those egg yolks a little bit at a time. And what this does is brings the egg yolks up to temperature so that they're not going to curdle or just become scrambled eggs instantly. So once you add your 1/2 cup, you're going to pour those egg yolks back into the pot, whisking all the time, and just pour them in as a steady stream and then continue to whisk until they're combined. And then you're going to continue to heat this, and as you cook it, you'll notice it starts to get a lot thicker. This happens fairly quickly, and you'll know you've reached the right consistency when the mixture's thicker and it coats the back of a spoon. If you run something through it, it leaves a mark and it won't drip down. Now you'll notice here the mixture had just started to come to a simmer. I took it off the heat right away. Let that chill completely. Put it in the refrigerator and let it sit there overnight. You want this mixture to be nice and cold. Now it's time to churn your ice cream. So you're going to put the mixture into your ice cream maker. This is a Cuisinart model. I've had it for about 20 years. Bought it at, I think it was Walmart. And I use it maybe once or twice a year. It has a metal bowl that you keep in the freezer so it's cold. And then other plastic parts. Works really well. You're going to churn this until you get something that's a lot like very firm soft served ice cream. And you can see the volume is going to increase. I also added a couple of drops of black food coloring in here. If you do decide to add a little black food coloring, just go easy on it. Just use a couple of drops because it really has a kind of a funky aftertaste if you use too much. And this ice cream darkens up quite a bit once you put it in the freezer to let it firm up. Now you need a skull mold. I bought this one on Amazon. It's actually for ice cubes, but it works quite well for ice cream. Just fill up the mold cavities, just making sure you press it down firmly so that all the little nooks and crannies get filled with ice cream. And once you fill up both cavities on both sides of the mold, you're just going to put them together and then you're going to put it in the freezer and let it chill overnight in the freezer or for several hours. You want these to get very firm. And just make sure when you put your mold pieces together that you press down firmly because you want the tops and the bottoms of the skulls to stick together when they freeze. This ice cream recipe makes enough for about 8 skulls with a little bit of extra for the ice cream cones. This is the next day. I took them out of the freezer and when I started to peel them apart, I noticed that the ice cream was sticking quite a bit. And that first skull that I started peeling at the corner there, it actually split in two. So what I did is I ran it under a little bit of warm water and then it actually peeled off quite easily, as you can see. So just run it under a little bit of warm water, not for very long because this stuff melts really fast. That container in the background there, I actually put that in the freezer while I was getting these ready just to make sure it was nice and cold. Then put these skulls in the freezer and let them sit there for about an hour. You want them to be nice and frozen. Now that ice cream that's in that plastic container is what was left in the ice cream machine. You might have to let this sit at room temperature a couple minutes before you scoop it because this is not like commercial ice cream. It gets quite hard when it sits in the freezer. So let it soften up a bit at room temperature so you can scoop it. Fill up your ice cream cones and then top it off with an ice cream skull. I use food preparation gloves here just because I didn't want to get fingerprints on the skulls. Now this is a really nice ice cream recipe. It has a really nice dark chocolate flavor to it. Now this particular skull I liked because there was a bubble, I guess, in the mold, and it looks like if this skull was found at a crime scene, you could probably guess the cause of death just by looking at that hole in the front of that forehead. The skulls have kind of a white frost on them because they were in the freezer on their own, but as they get a little bit warmer after you take them out, you'll get kind of a uniform chocolate color all over there. I was really happy with the way these turned out. Some of the detail, like where the teeth are, was kind of lost a little bit, but they all have kind of their own character, and they look really good as a group. If you can find chocolate cones, that would be even better, but I couldn't find those locally. Hope you give this one a try. These aren't the first skull-themed treats that I've made on my channel. Here are a couple of examples up on your screen and my Halloween treats playlist. Thanks for watching.